Hello, it's Glenn Hairston, and thank you for joining me for another Tai Chi talk. Today I want to address the question that I get asked quite often, probably more often than any other question ever, and that is, what is the difference between Tai Chi practice for health and Tai Chi martial practice? Okay, so what is the difference between Tai Chi for health and Tai Chi for martial art? The answer is absolutely nothing. There's no difference. There's only one Tai Chi. There's not multiple Tai Chis. The only difference is how far do you want to go down the rabbit hole? You see, all Tai Chi has the same rules, the same principles. There's nothing different whether you're studying it for health or whether you're studying it for martial application. The only difference is the level of understanding of those principles that are necessary to acquire what it is you're after. If you're looking to do Tai Chi for health, it's only necessary to understand things from a certain point of view to a certain level. However, if you're looking to apply Tai Chi for its applicational value, you're looking at quite something a little bit different, and you're going to have to see it different and come at it from a different perspective. So, let's explore this a little further. So first of all, we're going to have to ask ourselves, what is exercise? Okay, if we're doing Tai Chi for exercise, what is exercise? And a good working definition would be activity that is planned, structured, and repetitive for the purpose of conditioning, sustaining, or improving health and fitness. In Tai Chi practice, this is done in a number of methods. For example, the Tai Chi form, whether it's empty hands or weapons, maybe push hands training, maybe Qigong, or a variety of standing practices, and many others. Okay, now let's take a look at self-defense. A working definition: use of physical means to protect oneself from a physical aggression. Now, in order to look at Tai Chi for self-defense and using that definition or one that's similar, we would have to understand a little bit more about Tai Chi and how it goes about implementing such a definition. First of all, we have to understand that when it comes to application, what Tai Chi does is it creates, it solicits, and it exploits vulnerabilities. That's how Tai Chi applies itself with an aggressor. And this is very notable in push hands. We entice an individual to overextend, to bend over, to lean, to come off of their center. And then once they do that, of course, we take advantage of that situation. So as I just said, Tai Chi is looking to exploit vulnerability, or create vulnerability, then exploit it. Let me give an example. Rather than go head to head with someone, just picture in your mind for a second, you yourself drop your pencil and you bend over to pick up your pencil, and while you're bending over, someone comes from the side and they shove you really hard. There's a really good chance you're going to fall, maybe get hurt, because you're in a vulnerable and unbalanced, off your center type situation. Well, this is what Tai Chi seeks to do throughout a self-defense scenario, is to get someone in such a vulnerable position that when we attack, when we apply our attack, that it's quite easy to take advantage of them. Now, if you take that same scenario where you're just standing there, you're not bending over, you didn't drop your pencil, and someone comes up and they just try to shove you really hard, you're in a much, much better position to defend yourself, to maintain your balance. You may go back a step or two, but it's easy to recover from that, and then you can come forward with your own aggression if you so chose. This is what it's like fighting in Tai Chi. We don't want to apply our methodology until we have first gotten someone in a vulnerable situation. And in Tai Chi, that's what's known as severing the root. They're not stable, they can't recover, they can't really defend themselves. We want to take advantage of them when they're in a vulnerable state. So what I like to tell my students when I'm training them is that in Tai Chi, we like to make the opponent complicit in their own demise. In other words, instead of two people standing there putting forth their best game, we want to entice a person to step outside of their best game, to be off balance, to be overextended, to be off of their center, to actually try to become yang and to give us everything they got, so that when we are not there, when we neutralize that, when we're out of the way, that puts them in a really bad position, but it puts us in a superior position to take advantage of that, to attack from an angle or whatever we want to do. Now, a good example of making someone complicit in their own demise is rather than bending over and picking up that pencil, where I have this individual where you're bent over at the waist and someone shoves you and you're off balance. Let's just say someone's being aggressive and I entice them to strike me in my face. Well, they deliver this punch, they're obviously going to deliver it with a lot of force, or else there's no reason to deliver it. And once I ward off, if I pull their arm down sharply and quickly, that's going to force them to bend over at the waist, just as if they were bending over and picking up that pencil. So now what we have is the person in the same position as when you were picking up the pencil, except there's no pencil, but we've created that position. We've teased them into compromising their position by throwing that punch, by giving us that arm, by putting all of their energy and weight forward, so that when we yank down on that arm, now they're off balance and they're bent over, and now we can attack with that same push to knock them down, because they can't defend against the push now. And that's what we want, is for people to be defenseless against what we're trying to do. So as a martial art, Tai Chi has three major attributes that it utilizes when it comes to fighting or protecting themselves, and that's trickery, skill, and science. Trickery is nothing more than the practice of deception. And of course, Tai Chi does that very well. We do it in push hands. That's why we have sensitivity. When we become soft, when someone expects us to be hard, when we go left, when they expect us to go right, when they expect us to put force forward, we don't utilize force. Tai Chi uses a whole host of things that can be considered trickery. We're constantly deceiving our opponent. When they think we're going to do something, we don't do it exactly the way they think we're going to do it. As a matter of fact, the entire approach of Tai Chi is trickery. We find hardness and softness in hardness. It goes against most other types of martial art applications or any kind of fighting. We just don't come at people and meet them head on, throwing everything we have. So trickery is a huge part of Tai Chi application. Skill is pretty much self-explanatory. It's just the art of doing something well, whatever it is. And how do you do something well? Well, you do it a lot. If you're going to be good at push hands, you push hands a lot. If you're going to be good at actually fighting, you're going to do that a lot. So skill is time in. That's all it is, time in. And when we're talking about science, basically what we're talking about is a systematically organized body of knowledge on a particular subject. So you can see when you put these things together and you have to study all of these things, the trickery, the science, and the skill, and you put it together, to have an understanding of Tai Chi's application, it's a little further down the rabbit hole than just doing Tai Chi for exercise. So just doing Tai Chi for exercise is not going to give you the martial skill. A good example would be boxing. There's many of these boxing gyms that have been popping up over the past several years where people have no desire to fight or be a boxer, but they want to box for health. And these are these boxing for health gyms, and I think they're great. You have trainers that work with people, they hit the bag, they hit pads, they skip rope, they do footwork, they do a number of things, but what they don't do is have interaction with other people. A boxer has to know how to recover when he gets hit and hurt, how to hold his guard, how to move, how to slip, how to bob, how to weave. Just so much to actually being a boxer, to sustain going round and round and round with someone else who's trained punching at you, that you're not going to get that from just studying boxing for health and fitness. Well, the same is true with Tai Chi. There's no difference. I mean, you're studying Tai Chi for health and fitness. You're doing a form. Maybe you are doing some push hands, but the push hands that you're doing isn't going to be the same type of push hands or studied with the same depth that it's going to be when you're looking at what you're trying to extract out of push hands in terms of when someone's punching, kicking, and grabbing you. It's just not going to go to that level. So basically, what's the difference between Tai Chi for health and Tai Chi for martial art? There's really no difference. It's just a matter of how far you want to take it. Just like boxing for health and fitness, or boxing because you want to be the next Golden Gloves champion, or you want to be able to defend yourself with the boxing that you learn. How far are you willing to take it? What are you up for? What is your particular interest in what you're doing? There's nothing wrong with it either way. People who are doing it for health and fitness shouldn't be looked down upon, and people who do it for martial art shouldn't be looked up to as somebody special. It's just what you decide to do, what you decide to get out of it. What's important, though, is not to be deceived into thinking that by doing a certain practice that you're going to get more out of it than that practice is capable of giving you. That's where problems come. A person who's never fought, who's never felt being striked, who doesn't know how to get out of the way when another person decides to be extremely aggressive, etc., etc., etc. All of the things that come along with actually fighting. If you've never been in that situation and you've never studied how to deal with the various situations that come along with being attacked, you're just not magically going to be able to deal with that. It just, that skill just won't materialize for you. So the bottom line is, there's not two different Tai Chis. It's all one Tai Chi. You can do it for health. You can do it for martial application. It's a matter of how far down the road you want to take it. How far down the journey, how deep down the rabbit hole do you want to take it? And not everyone wants to take it to the same level. If you decide to proceed further, over time, your insight and execution will adjust itself accordingly. Meaning, the way that you understand things today, if you're just doing it for health, you're going to actually see things differently and see a change in your Tai Chi. The way that you move, perform your form, the way that you understand what you do, and your outlook on Tai Chi will gradually adjust, just like anything else will adjust. The more you study it, the deeper you go, the more information you have, because there's other factors will have to be considered when you're practicing. So enjoy your training, enjoy your practice. Thanks for joining me for this talk. Till next time, take care, be safe.